Welcome, I'll be reviewing Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 11, and Picard, Season 2, Episode 1. It was so much fun having 2 Star Trek episodes basically in one day. It was kind of appropriate having Michael going on basically an archaeological episode at the same time that Picard dropped, because I'm pretty sure he would approve. They even gave the disco crew a Guardians of the Galaxy style slow-mo opening walking down that corridor. It's interesting how they are finally honing in on the fact that Michael is a xenoanthropologist. It wasn't brought up that often before, but I think it was mentioned like half a dozen times this episode. Okay, in the next scene, when Book and Tarka were basically ruminating on the best plan to stop the 10C, all I could think about was Book's shirt. I am all about the monochromatic texture. I really want this shirt. And the jacket from later in the episode. Seriously, Book has the best wardrobe. I loved how conflicted Book was throughout the episode. I mean, he felt like he was betraying his found family, and yet also believed what he was doing was right. And it really shone through. And they are officially the Plan B team. Yes. It was starting to frustrate me how long they were standing around talking. Michael was going on about how every minute we spend might bring us closer to billions of lives lost. And then they proceeded to speechify for the next half hour. I would have sprinted to the shuttle and then used Anakin Skywalker level speeds to get down to the planet. The only person who seemed to also understand this was Tarina, who basically gave them a one-liner of, "You've got this, do it quickly," and then gave them this epic mom look like she might be my new favorite character on Discovery. And then they finally got down to the planet and just stood there staring at the horizon. Like, speed walk, people. Pretend this is Disneyland rope drop. Come on. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated at this point. I hate it when shows are like, there's a ticking clock and then everyone stands around. I did enjoy getting to find out more about the 10C and what they went through with that planet-wide catastrophe. Maybe they could use that in negotiations, like, hey, remember how you felt when that happened? That's what we're feeling right now. Let's maybe stop that. I keep forgetting this character's name, but I love him so much because he is always snacking. Like every scene, he has a snack. And then poor Saru, and then the others going through it this episode with those VR horror film scenes going on. Ugh. I thought it was a great Dettner line when everyone else was freaking out and hallucinating, and the doctor pointed out, her biosigns haven't changed at all. And Dettner just deadpan looked at them and went, yet. Jet is back! We need a day in the life of Jet Reno as a Star Trek short. Please make that happen. I laughed way too hard at that hold the nutmeg line because I'm a fan of Townsend's, the YouTube channel and the streaming service. They do 18th century cooking videos. It's a long story. Anyway, there's an inside joke about nutmeg. Like, they add it to everything. They even call their live stream the Nutmeg Tavern. And so there's just this running joke about it throughout the comments of all their videos. I'm sorry, it's such an inside joke, but it was a good one. And then we got words of wisdom from Jet. Everyone, no matter how calm a veneer they present, is kind of a mess. They're not okay. I just love Jet. And then now that she's a snarky hostage, this is going to be the best thing ever. I just want the next episode to be Jet in the background, just remarking on everything Book and Tarka are doing. That's the whole episode for an hour. The emotion-causing dust was really an intriguing idea. And I think that they can use that to make some sort of connection, at least to get things started with the 10C. And I also think that the depth of Book's pain will be something that they can relate to. And if they could somehow get them to talk to Book, he would be able to convince them. And I think he's the only person who can. And ironically, of course, he's off on the team Blow Them Up, which I also understand. But they really need him on the negotiation team. I may have shrieked a bit when I saw the Lyrian at the bar as a Morn reference to Deep Space Nine. Also, can we talk about Adira this episode and how adorably socially awkward they were? I have been there. Yeah. And then at the end, when they finally went to talk to Detmer, their hero, and we're standing there like awkwardly, and Detmer, thank goodness, was just so accepting and was like, here, sit down, let's talk. It's okay. That was just such a cute moment. I honestly think that Deppner will be a really good role model. And this episode, well, it's not like, ooh, brilliant. I really enjoyed it. There were some great character moments. Moving along to Picard, Season 2, Episode 1. The old school Star Trek opening was outstanding. Inexplicable steam everywhere, sparks, people melodramatically flinging themselves around. What a nostalgia fest. The opening titles were visually stunning. I mean, this is like a James Bond movie level opening, but I didn't like the music arrangement as much. I prefer the Season 1 arrangement, so I want that music over this title sequence. But still, it was beautiful. I wish we spent more time at the chateau. I'm biased since I also live in wine country, but I want Picard just being a wine grower and hanging out with the dog, who is adorable. It was so neat when they were using the transporter tech to harvest grapes. Did anyone else get super excited about that, or was it just me? And I loved getting to see Crush Season, or I guess in their case, One Day, and how they did it, and the labels going. I'm sorry, I was just so excited. Getting to see the winemaking process in Star Trek era was just. I would be perfectly happy if it was the entire show. Have you been seeking or running? What might you find if you were just to stop? What an outstanding question for any decision in life. I'm so glad that she's back this season and clearly as a main character and possibly love interest. I totally ship it. So far, the storytelling is really like a Victorian novel. Having an emphasis on childhood and how that influences a person is something that doesn't come up as often in modern fiction. And if you read a lot of Victorian and earlier novels like I do, usually the first half is about their childhood and what formed them as a person. To have that woven into Picard like this really gives it this vintage feel, which is outstanding considering it's a futuristic sci-fi show. Also, he lives in my dream house. Old books everywhere, rich dark colors, wood, leather. If I had an unlimited budget, I would basically build this chateau. And the Earl Grey cold line, that made me laugh way too hard. An embarrassingly loud laugh. Good job, Space Legolas! But did he ever get to see a cat? Where is his cat? What got an even bigger cheer from me, though, was 7 of 9 showing up, looking amazing, as always. My headcast of Éowyn from Lord of the Rings is Jeri Ryan, and right here, you can see why. She has this just beautiful warrior spirit to her. And the hologram was fantastic as well. If I ever have my own spaceship, I totally want a security hologram, only maybe 12 of them, and perpetually having the safety protocols off. It could go horribly wrong, and I would love it. This is how really pretty people flirt, isn't it? As Agnes rolls her eyes and takes a drink. I really want to dislike her because of season 1, but I can't. This whole episode, I just adored her. And it's so wrong. And they turned the nostalgia notch up again when they brought the Stargazer in. I was so excited when that happened. And that lingering shot of the hull as the music swells. I joke about it, but I really like it when they do those shots. Really good point about trying to date people who are super self-sufficient, because I am one of those people, which is why I've never really dated seriously and haven't even tried in years. I much prefer to make my own decisions and be in control of what I'm doing at any time. So a partner would be competing against that. And it's a tough competition. Like 7, I prefer to do things my own way, on my own terms. And I've been that way so long now that I basically prefer it. So I totally get having someone coming along and saying, hey, I really want to have a relationship with you. And I would be like, yeah, cool, but I have ranger stuff to do, so I'm just gonna go. And Guinan, I knew she would be in this season because I saw a still of her, but I was not expecting episode 1. That was a shock. She also had a great explanation for looking a little bit older, that it put humans at ease. And I like that they threw that in just to explain it. And she was here being candidly wise, as always. She also knew when to stop pushing Picard. I think we all need a Guinan in our lives. When Picard stepped onto the bridge and they did that old naval whistle, my heart leapt. It was such a wonderful moment. This show feels like Star Trek to me. I enjoy Discovery, but it hasn't gotten there yet. 15 minutes of Picard to me felt more like Star Trek than 4 seasons of Discovery. Like someone on this show just gets it. The moment the original transmission came through with so many languages at once, I was like, Borg. But then I thought, no, they would address him as Locutus, not Picard. So when Seven confirmed that they were Borg, I was both like, what? And also, yeah, that makes sense. But I had already considered and then rejected that idea, so it was a little odd. Seven's just furious reaction to the Borg potentially joining Starfleet was so perfect. Like after her parents and everything she went through, it was the only reaction that she could have. And I loved that scene so much. Really well done. I was curious about how they would redesign the Queen, but I was not expecting this. She's like Darth Vader if Padme had designed his suit. And then when she activated her weapon and there was like that steampunk clockwork gear going on, so cool. I went from, what is that design? To, what is that design? In like 10 seconds. And then assimilating the entire fleet. Okay, I love her. She's awesome. What a villain. And then when Picard just woke up like it was some sort of dream, I was like, what is going on? This must be Q, because I knew Q was going to show up at some point because it was all over the internet. But I was still like thrown off by how jarring it was. And then when Q did show up and Picard was going, no, 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 I was sitting there going, yes, yes, yes. I basically spent this entire episode like that meme pointing at the screen. This was such a banger opening. This one episode was better than all of season 1. I think it was partly because they had to introduce a lot of the new characters and the recurring ones coming back in, establishing the timeline. But this season, they don't need to worry about all of that. They just assembled the crew in like 5 minutes and then boom, rushed into the story, and wow, what a story. I have a feeling this is going to be a fantastic season. I was really looking forward to Strange New Worlds, but not so much Picard. I was like, yeah, I like it. It's entertaining. Could be better. I wasn't expecting this. I was like, poof. So this just came out of left field and it was amazing. If you have not seen the season 2 Picard premiere yet, go watch it. If you're one of the people who's like, I didn't really like Discovery, you might like this. Give it a try. Live long and prosper.